Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. Dear brothers and sisters, continuing again with chapter 28. And as we mentioned yesterday, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will destroy, will change the world order because of the people who are in charge are committing injustices. Injustices between each other, injustices between nations, and all of this happening, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next verse is telling us why this is happening. And the reason is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَمَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. So that life we're living in, it's meant to be a tool of the test. It meant to be a tool to tempt you, to make you, or you will comply with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commandments. Are you going to be remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam teachings when you're dealing with others, when you're dealing with yourself? Or this life, with, in addition to the devil, in addition to the traits we have in ourselves, from jealousy, from selfishness, from greed, all of those come together. These are gonna take you, you're gonna follow all of these things, or you will say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. There is only one God worthy of worship, and Muhammad is His messenger, and I have to follow that. That's what it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very decent in terms of what? He wants you to marry. He wants you to have a vacation. He wants you to have money in the bank. He wants you to become anything you want. But He have put all of these things you want within a framework. If you got out of that framework, you will be held accountable, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes will destroy you because of disobedience. And that's what we're coming in right here. So those things in life, you see, people forget God when they get the money. They forget their families and the kingships, the ties between them and their families. They forget their mother, their father when they get the money. People forget their origins when they get the money. When he got a beautiful girl or a beautiful lady and married to her, she made him forget his family, his principles. When he got a big, powerful position in a company or in a nation, he forgot all the principles of equality, the principles of justice, and go trying to make as much money as he can accumulate. It doesn't matter how many people he's hurting. And as we see how insurance companies in America are being held accountable, or hopefully will be held accountable in the near future, about all of these injustices they're doing. Brothers and sisters, what I'm trying to come to is, don't let this life take you away and not comprehending the purpose of you being here. The purpose for you being here is to pass the test. There is nothing more. All this around you is noise. The TikTok is noise, unless you're watching something beneficial. Everything around you can be noise and distraction. But also, if you use things in the right way, with the appropriate measure, you will be successful. Brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to marry, wants you to do everything within the limits He have put. Dear brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala It's the same thing like you go, you apply for a job, you got the job. Before you take your position, you have to sign disclosures. You have to sign that you won't steal, that you won't take the company secrets and give it somewhere else. You sign that you won't hurt your fellow employees. You sign that you'll treat your customers with respect, that you won't discriminate against anybody in the workplace. All of these things, brother and sister, if you didn't do, maybe they're going to give you 1 warning, 2 warnings, and then they will fire you if you didn't comply, or if you don't comply. And from here, we have to understand this is the same thing. All these natural causes, all these natural disasters, all these the LA fires, the earthquakes, the coronavirus, all of these things are meant, these are the quiz, pop-up quiz. The 2008 economic crisis, all of these things are the pop-up quiz in it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing us that we are failing. That we're failing to answer the questions right. Question 2, warn you before your final. The final is when you die. That's the final. There's nothing. You're not going to come back. As far as you're breathing, you still have an opportunity. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps sending us a message after a message. A warning after a warning. But sometimes when people are too much drowned in all these temptations and all of these deviations, they forget. It's very hard to bring them back. Sometimes you have somebody who's dying. Sometimes you try to get him back to life. And a lot of time when you give that electric shock, but a lot of time, if that person is dead already, he won't come back. Dear brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to comply with what He brought down. And it's very decent. And the most important thing is our practical. Yes, you have to pray. Yes, you have to fast. Yes, you have to do all of these things. But the most important things are those theoretical things you do, it needs to prepare you to the reality. Every day you are in the battlefield. How many lies did you lie? How many persons did you cheat? How many things you looked at you're not supposed to look at? How many things you heard you're not supposed to hear? Brothers and sisters, that's the essence of being on the correct path. This is the essence of having the true guidance. Otherwise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that all of these are decorations. These are all things which will vanish. The people who are going after the money, the people who are going after the women, the people who are going after the drugs, everything will vanish. It's not gonna last. You go for a vacation, you come, you're tired. The pleasure, the joy of the vacation is not gonna last. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to tell us. That His pleasure, He who the only one can make you happy. And that is the happiness when you get close to Him. Dear brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then ending that ayah, He said, وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. What Allah has for these people who sacrificed. These people who showed bravery. Because remember, there are gonna have to be hard choices to be made. It's not easy. The test is not easy. You know why the test is not easy? Because the reward is so high. Brother and sister, the reward of you becoming compliant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's laws and regulations and guidelines is Jannah. You know what Jannah means? Paradise means that you will be in eternity. There is no disease. There is no fear. There is no anxiety. There is no depression. Every day there is new excitement. Every minute there is no excitement. You don't have to work. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to hear bad news. You don't have to do anything. It's all enjoyment after an enjoyment. It's all blessings. Dear brothers and sisters, and that's why you see people when you hear the word death, when they hear the word death, they become so scared, so frightened, because they never prepared. They're never prepared for what? They're never prepared for that hereafter. Brothers and sisters, if I tell you, you are going to be, tomorrow, you have to move to a different country, different language, different place you live, different people. Everything is totally different. You don't have a bank account there. You don't know how you're going to survive there. You don't know anything about that. What you will do, you'll be scared to death. Yes? And this is what happened. If the believer, if the person does not prepare for his hereafter, he will hate death. He doesn't want to move there. He doesn't want to go there. Because his retirement account, the retirement of the hereafter, is negative. And when you have an account with the negative, you don't want to go to the bank. They're going to tell you, you have to pay what you have, what you owe. And that is what happened. Why a lot of people, when they hear the word death is coming, knocking the door, they got so frightened. They got so scared. It's going to happen. Everybody. كل نفس ذائقة الموت. Indeed, every soul will taste death. But there is a difference between somebody like Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. When Jibril came to him and told him, Ya Muhammad, oh Muhammad, what do you want? We can give you eternity in this life or go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, بَلِ الرَّفِيقُ الْأَعْلَى. To Allah. This guy, he built already his castle. He built already his palace. He built already his swimming pool. He built already his Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces. He built already his mountains of gold. He built already his treasures. That's his life there. That's why he told him, إِلَى الرَّفِيقُ الْأَعْلَى يَا جِبْرِيلُ. بَلِ الرَّفِيقُ الْأَعْلَى. To Allah, I want to go. Brothers and sisters, this is what the attitude. Ramadan is coming, brothers and sisters. Take it as an opportunity to change, remove, implement, to stay straight for the rest of the life. Ramadan is not only for Ramadan. Ramadan is guidance for the rest of life. So you can be successful. You're going to have a big retirement account in the hereafter. Like the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين.